Big Mike and Hayes Entertainment here. Today's episode, we got Jay Demerit, Whitecaps captain and Team USA national soccer team member.
If you like what we're doing, hit the subscribe button.
What's up, guys? Jay Demerit here, and I'm coming up next on I Only Touch Greatness.
Ryan Hayes and Big Mike. I never stop. I Only Touch Greatness podcast.
Hayes Entertainment exclusive.
Young delivers, and Jay Demerit puts Watford in front. The American.
This is the hottest place for big name interviews in Vancouver with Ryan Hayes and Big Mike.
Ryan Hayes and Big Mike are taking over the podcast scene in Vancouver. Get down or lay down. Lay down. Lay down.
This is I Only Touch Greatness podcast with Ryan Hayes and Big Mike. We are going live.
What's up, guys? How are you guys?
Good.
Yeah. Just taking her easy. It's Monday night.
Yeah, right? How's this? Is this better?
Oh,
That's perfect.
You guys forgot your sleeves too? That's good. It's good to see.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, I just want to thank you, man, for taking the time for us today. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to us.
No, my pleasure, guys. This is seriously, part of my mission and what I do now and all this other kind of stuff. These are all great platforms for me to share my story and do the things that I do now with Rise and Shine. So, anytime I get a chance to go on and share that story and talk sports and life and all the good stuff that you guys are talking about and greatness, and this is what we're talking about. So, let's do it.
Right on. Thank you. So, what made you get into soccer in the first place? And did you play other sports growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I was your typical kind of Midwestern Green Bay, Wisconsin athlete. I grew up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So, of course, football, actual American football was built into my bones. Brett Favre was my hero, not a soccer player. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of grew up, in a blue-collar town like Green Bay. I had a cornfield across the street from my house. So, both my parents were gym teachers and coaches. So I played basketball in the winters, ran track in the spring. My dad was a track coach and a football coach. So, I was always just around sports. I was around kids that were older than me because my dad was a high school coach. So, that kind of mentorship level was also a part of my story and kind of how, sports was just always a part of my journey. My parents were both gym teachers. So even when I was having birthday parties, they were at the gym with a remote control car and playing every sport you could think of. So, for me, sporting was kind of my upbringing, but definitely not just soccer. That's for sure.
Who would you say your biggest influencers were in your career?
I would definitely say Brett Favre because he kind of, he played with a toughness, but with a really positive mental attitude. You could tell he was having fun out there. You could tell that, he never let the occasion get the best of, the purpose to be out there. And I think that's what I really loved about Brett Favre, and always played with a smile on his face, but with a toughness that everyone respected. So, he was kind of the first sporting icon that I had. And, my parents, they were just great supporters of mine. I always had crazy ideas and they always supported them whether they liked it or not. So they were really my other support system outside of like my sporting heroes like Brett Favre.
Yeah, that was my next question. I was going to ask you as soon as you were talking about football, who your favorite sports hero was.
Yeah, I would say him. I mean, on a soccer level, I would say, there's a guy named Eric Cantona who used to play for Manchester United. And he was this French dude. He always the first guy to pop his collar, like that kind of like cool factor kind of guy. So he was kind of the first soccer player. I was like, what's this guy? He's got a bit of swag. I don't know what he's got, but he's got something. So he was kind of my first soccer player that I looked up to. And then, basketball, Jordan was my era, so I got to see him play 3 times down at the Milwaukee Bucks arena. I grew up in Wisconsin, of course. So, he was the hero for pretty much everybody because he really personified the winning mentality, if you know what I mean.
That documentary was unreal. Like, I knew a lot about Jordan, but I learned a lot.
Well, again, the last thing you learn about is his mentality, and that kind of thing is what crosses across all things. I think he kind of was the first athlete that really set a life mentality of kind of a competitive edge, but really personified himself by that leadership ability to always want to win, but actually taking it upon himself to do so by innovating the game, by taking it on his shoulders to be that guy. Not many players did that before. They may have been competitive or they may have wanted to win, but to actually personify the role and do it in an innovative way, like Michael Jordan transformed basketball, I think was really what made him probably, again, one of the most special athletes of all time.
Yeah,
That's why he's the GOAT.
Yeah, and I had a question later on as well, LeBron, Kobe, or Jordan. So you pretty much answered that one right away.
I will say that, yeah. I'll stick to my guns. I'll stick to, again, I'm a fan of all three. Again, from someone that's led men at the highest performance level, I know what that's like to have those kind of guys be that good for so long. Again, I can make it to the pros. I can play in a World Cup, which tells me that I'm one of the best players in the world. But to those guys, they do it every year for a decade. Like, that is, and again, I look at soccer side too, Lionel Messi and Ronaldo. These two guys have been sharing the Ballon d'Or, the best soccer player in the world, for 10 years now. That's insane. To be at that level and to have everyone after you, to be you, and for guys like LeBron and Kobe to stay there for so long and win so many championships, it says everything about their willingness to stay at the top, and I know what that takes. So, again, I give a mad respect to all those guys.
Do you have a favorite quote?
There's a couple. The one I have at the top of this one, it's like a dreamer type mentality, and it says dreamers of the day. I don't know if you can see it.
Now I can. I put it to personal view.
So this is a painting of an artist called M.C. Escher, and it's basically he was a surrealist artist that drew a self-reflection of himself in a crystal ball. And so this is kind of like that. It's like kind of starting with the self-reflection piece, but almost like if you dream it, you can do it kind of idea. So look into your crystal ball and see if you can do it. And then the quote says, "Dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they act their dreams with open eyes to make them possible." So it's kind of like dreamers of the day are the ones that we should be scared of, because they're out there doing it, not just dreaming about it. So that's one of my quotes for sure that I live by.
I've never heard that one. That's a good one.
No, yeah, I never heard that either.
Yeah, it's a guy called T.E. Lawrence is the guy's name.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like the ink too.
Mm-hmm.
So after playing for a Chicago Fire Development squad, you headed to Europe. Is it true you only had $1,800?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that was U.S. So in pounds, that was just about 1,300 pounds. So that my plan was that would get me about 3 or 4 months, and it took me about a month to get in a team, but unfortunately that team only paid me 40 pounds a game. You'd be surprised when you don't. Thankfully, again, I always talk about the things that really allowed me to have the patience and that it required to actually make it over there. I didn't have a lot of money, but thankfully I had a roof to stay under. So again, my 40 pounds, which ended up being $50 a week, would go to food, and the other half would go to a couple beers on Saturday, and that was it. That was my lifestyle at the time. Work out all day, go play in as many games as I could, play on the Saturday, make my $40, go out Saturday night and start again. And that's kind of the way it would go. But then every day I would wake up and I would make sure that road was getting better, not getting worse. And as long as that road was getting better, I kept doing what I was doing. And eventually I got to the 9th division. And then after that first season, I got a tryout with a 3rd division team. Didn't make it, but it started to show me that I was going like this. You know what I mean? And I think any of us that want to create our own journeys, as long as it's doing that, patience is what's next. You know what I mean? That there's nothing else that's required outside of that. If you are conscious and you're humble in your approach to make sure you're your own critic, and you want it yourself. Am I better than I was yesterday? Am I better? Am I looking at this perspective? Am I getting more opportunities? Do more people tell me I'm a good player than they did yesterday? If all those answers are yes, keep doing it. And so that's
for sure. Every day you want to be moving forward and keep taking steps forward. Even just like doing our podcast, we're just trying to do better and better every single day.
Well, exactly. And when we're conscious of that, we're We're humble in our approach, so we'll accept mistakes. We'll say, hey, what did we like about that episode? What did we not? Okay, what did we like? Okay, let's do more of that. Let's cut that out. That's not working. So within that, it becomes this whole evolutionary trait. And, thankfully, I went to school for design, so I have a degree in product design. So design was something that was built into my education as a university athlete in Chicago. So what it does, it just teaches you the creative process. So I kind of looked at my journey as like, just how do you evolve? How do you stay creative? How do you, take the feedback from a coach and turn it into a practice the next day? And within that becomes that, again, that improvement factor. And as long as I was improving and getting better, I stuck with the journey. And again, within 2 years, there I was, getting a contract and playing in the first division after walking there with $1,500.
Yeah, it's pretty unreal. So that was when you went to Watford, right? When you guys ended up making the Premier League, is that correct?
Yeah. So my first season I was playing non-league, that was the 12th division. My next season I came back and I got to play against Watford, who was in a first division in a preseason friendly. So they didn't have any money to buy any new players, so I was free. So they were stoked and saying like, we need somebody. My story was pretty unique, and they were looking for a guy like me. And for me, that was a year tryout. I made the team, and I got a contract, but it was $25,000 in for 1 year. So again, I'm not going to sit here in my comfortable house and be like, "Hey, I made it." You know what I mean? Yeah. I just bought myself a year. Let's get to work. And so that's kind of what I did, and I ended up through an injury from the guy in front of me. Ended up playing 30 games my rookie year, and then my second season, we hired a new manager and made it to the playoff final to get to the Premier League. So there I was in my second season. Playing in front of 80,000 on the championship playoff final, which is in all of sports, it's the most lucrative game in professional sports because the TV money jump to get from the championship to the Premier League, because the Premier League is the biggest TV revenue in the world. It's 500 people watch Premier League games on the weekend around the world, so the TV money is crazy in the Premier League. So if you get promoted, that game alone puts $100 million in your bank account for the team.
Holy.
So
you scored in that game too, right?
What's that?
You scored in that championship playoff game, didn't you?
Yeah. So there I am. I scored the first goal. We wiped Leeds 3-0 in front of 80,000 people, and I'm giving the man of the match ball speech on the jumbotron. And, and 2 years earlier, I walked there, and no one in America or anywhere here had ever heard of me. So, again, that was kind of my message. It's like you can do things that people think you can't do. You just gotta, have support and believe in yourself. And a lot of those things are easier said than done. But when you think about what it actually means and that they actually can happen, I can physically show you that. I can physically tell you that story and say that it actually did happen. It's not just theory. It's not a thought. It was action. And those are the kind of things that just can continue to try to keep happening. But again, each step of the way, I had to refocus. Now I'm in the Premier League. Now what? Now do I get comfortable and start to bring the ego type things into play? And it's hard not to. Being a Premier League player in London, it's awesome. It's incredible. You know what I mean? Like that kind of environment, the way that they live and breathe. It's kind of like how Canadians live and breathe hockey. It's something that's built into the culture over there in the UK. And to be a part of that as an American and to do it the way that I did it was pretty cool. But you still have to maintain a lot of level of focus because everyone wants your job. Contracts only last for so long. So, you really got to stay at the top of your game. And that requires a lot of work, a lot more than most people think. But it also requires a mindset to not get comfortable.
And then you tore your Achilles, is that right?
Yeah. So after my European stint, so I played in the Premier League for a bit. I got to be captain of Watford. I got named captain. So I played over 200 games for Watford in the yellow shirt. I was first American captain for that club and got to really learn a lot about the sport. England taught me so much about the sport, the culture of the game, what fans are like, and within that success, I got called up to the U.S. national team and played in the World Cup in 2010. So I got to be in the U.S. team that won our group for the first time. We got to play against England actually, and we tied against England, but won that group. So we beat England out to win our group, and so that was pretty cool. And then after the World Cup was finished, I got a call from the Whitecaps, and they're like, "Hey, we're a new team in the MLS next year. You're at a perfect age where we want your leadership." And I was at an age where again I walked there So I had never played in front of my friends and family. They either had to fly to England or watch me on TV. And for me, it was like, I don't know, like being a professional athlete's awesome, but you want to enjoy it with people that are there with you, or they're people that supported you along the way. And, I thought it was a great opportunity. I thought the role that the Whitecaps offered me, to be the first signing of a franchise and to be a leader of an organization, I thought was such a bigger role. And for something that, again, I had captained the team in the Premier League. I had learned so much about the sport. I thought it was something I could give, on a much deeper level. You know what I mean? I didn't come to Vancouver to make money. That's for sure. I would have stayed in Europe. But, for me, it was about the role. It was about, doing the best with what I got in my career. And, by no means, again, I landed in Vancouver shores and I knew it was the right place for me. I loved the history of the Whitecaps. I loved the history of the club. They had lifted championship trophies before. There had been parades in the streets of Vancouver. So that's what we wanted to recreate. And they kind of sold me on that. That first year was incredible. It was, I don't know if you guys went to the games at all.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The atmosphere is unreal. I love going.
Yeah, and especially to be one of the first signees you were the first signee.
And first captain.
And for you to go there, and what was the atmosphere like in your head?
I thought Empire it reminded me of those small European stadiums where the fans are right there. You can almost they can almost spit on you. You know what I mean? That kind of, and I came from England, so I like a bit of hooliganism in a classy kind of way, because I think that soccer is a passion-built sport. And that community creates that, and I like that about sport. I call that the spirit of competition, and I think that it kind of. Those first couple games were always really nice weather, and people, Vancouver was, right into it. And we had a really good squad that first couple years. We had a couple other guys that came from Europe, and like Eric Hasley and
Hasley was a good sniper.
Oh man. And we all really liked each other. We were a hot team. We were winning games at home, but then we couldn't win away. We couldn't win away from home. And unfortunately we got a great first season. But in our second season ever, we made the playoffs. We were the first Canadian team to make the playoffs. As a leader, that was a really, really, cool feather in my cap, because that first year was really tough. I had to answer the media every day. Hey, Jay, how come you guys can't win away from home? Hey, Jay, how come your groin's injured? Hey, Jay, what's it like playing on turf? And I'm like, oh, God. Got a leader, those were hard years for me.
You obviously enjoyed your time here, though, eh? You ended up moving here? Whistler?
Yeah, I'm still here, and I'm still I'm just north. I run a youth program in Pemberton. That's where I'm at right now. This is a little 340 square foot cabin. Look at this thing.
Oh, nice.
That's the lofted bed. I got the moose horns there.
Yeah.
And look at that. Look, Mount Curry right there.
Wow, beauty view. Nice.
Yeah, so this is kind of what I do now. I run a youth program up here in the summer with the Rise and Shine Foundation, which is my charity. I run that stuff in 4 or 5 months a year, and then the rest of the time I'm still doing ambassador work for Watford. I have a couple other entrepreneurial type projects, and these types of things keep me busy up here in the sea of sky. That's for sure. And I'm very happy to not be in the States right now. That's for sure.
I gotta agree with that one. We got it made here so far.
Yeah, definitely. You got 2 clothing companies still?
Just one. It's one in Minneapolis. It's my brother and a good friend of his. It's called Sectwear.
Yeah.
It's just a lifestyle brand. Yeah, I've been, and then the stereo company is the one here. It's a product called Rocket Log. So we take from my product design degree. I kind of started to make party boxes, cool stereos made out of suitcases, and also out of reclaimed log rounds called Rocket Log. So
cool.
I got one in the cabinet.
A couple of pictures. Song whale.
So this is Rocket Log.
Oh, sweet. Holy. That's sweet.
So this is it's a Bluetooth stereo made right here in Whistler. We only cut up trees that have been cut down. So we work with logging projects, people that are clearing their yards and land and stuff. We go in and we take this diameter, and then we built this cone, which is like real electronic piece. All the amp, the Bluetooth, everything is in there. We did a Kickstarter for this 2.5 years ago to raise money to develop the product. And so now this all comes as a one produced part with all the electronics, and then all we do is make the cabinet out of the log. routering and sanding basically, and then we combine the speaker from the front. So essentially, all we're doing is creating a cooler speaker and a much better cabinet to listen to tunes from. But because even on the same tree, you're gonna have a knot or a different crick of grain. So every rocket log's different.
You'll have to hit us with the website after so we can add it to this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Rocket, ROCKIT, rocketlog.com.
Just gonna have to. Okay. Hang on. Do you still have the digital media company Songwhale?
Yes, that's out of Pittsburgh. We do a lot of like text messaging service, like bulk text messaging for hospitals, universities, things like that. So say, for instance, a university student is on campus and there's an Amber Alert. They'll get a text if they agree to come to the terms of the university to be a part of their app. They send out group text to people. If you're like, we do things for like the Pittsburgh Penguins. So if you're at a game, you'll get a text that says $1 off Pepsi for the third quarter. And so like you can target coupons, you can target kind of mass text messaging platforms through certain things like that. So that's that company. And then now with the Rise and Shine, we're building a digital program. So with my youth program, have you guys ever heard of Masterclass?
No, I haven't. No.
So Masterclass is like online lessons from the pros. So like Serena Williams teaches tennis. Steven Spielberg teaches, directing. The best of the best teach the skills of what they do. So that's kind of what I've been doing with my youth program up here. So, I will have NHL players come up here and talk to soccer kids, or we'll have a chef come up and we'll cook with the kids that has cooked for the head chef at Chia Pino's, and he'll come up and he'll, like stuff like that. So the pros coach, then the kids have more interest because it's actually celebrities and brands that they're following. So within that, I started to do this program over the last couple of years. And now I'm digitizing it. So now kids at home are going to be able to do online lessons from pros, skill shot lessons like TikTok challenges and stuff, but actually have. But now imagine if you could do the Brock Besser slap shot challenge, and then you get a signed stick by doing it. You know what I mean? Now the kids are getting rewards to create skill sets or mindsets based on these influencers and their messages we're going to create through the program. So that's kind of my next one of what I'm doing now. I feel like I'm really busy, but.
That called the regimen?
I'd rather be busy than bored.
Yeah, that's gonna get kids definitely motivated. I mean, I know as a kid, I'd love to go to the games and meet players after the games and stuff, and that motivated me. But them actually doing a skill with them definitely will get them going. That's for sure. That's a great idea.
Imagine if you could earn the right by learning a bunch of ways, from teamwork to leadership to all things that we can create through the Canucks lessons. And then all of a sudden you can earn the right to be one of those kids guaranteed. So you can earn the right to go see Brock after a game.
Yep.
You were doing it just in hopes that you'd see him on his way out.
Yeah.
Imagine you control your own destiny. You can get a shout out from him just by creating one online lesson. And it's like, hey, this is Brock. Thanks for here's my signed photo for you. You know what I mean? And now you can keep that. That's yours. And you only did it by getting better at life and learning more about him.
That's awesome. Do you have an online fitness company?
No online fitness company.
Awesome.
Obviously, when Steve Nash being owner, did you ever get to meet the guy?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Steve's a friend of mine. I've done a lot of things with him with his initiatives through the Steve Nash Foundation. I actually made him a cool Steve Nash Foundation boombox a couple years ago. He does this cool shield competition in New York, and I was on one of those teams playing soccer in the street, in the basketball court in New York. So yeah, no, I'm still pretty tight with Steve. He's I can lean on him for some of his mentorship. He's a guy that really, from an athlete's perspective, really started to be one of the first to push out other things. He wasn't just a basketball player. He was a producer. He was started his own companies. He was an for a lot of Canadian things and for the Whitecaps. So. I was always really interested in how he did things, especially on a business level. And he's been a pretty cool mentor for me, for sure.
You still got the orange Camaro?
I do. I wrapped it like gunmetal gray, though. So it's kind of gunmetal right now. But it's oh, yeah. She's been getting a lot of cruises these days. Yeah. Like I got a 4-year-old. So him and I go on Camaro cruises sometimes on Sundays and stuff. Get the old waist belt back on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. I saw it in the background, you were in it in that one video on YouTube about your retirement day.
Yeah. When that's I don't really. I mean, it's one of those things I try not to put the top up, so I only drive it on sunny days because I feel like that's the only way to drive those cars anyway. And I mean, let's be honest, old cars don't always work as much as you want them to work every time.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you know, there's at least once a year I'm on the side of the road going, why did I buy this stupid car?
Your best season obviously was in 2012 out here. You were named to the All-Star team, and you guys beat Chelsea too. What was it like playing against Chelsea?
Well, I mean, from the All-Star game, that was pretty cool. You know, I was the first one from Vancouver to get the All-Star nod, and so for me, that was pretty cool to represent Vancouver and that for the first time in an MLS All-Star game. But the other cool part of that game was the guys I got to play with. So David Beckham, Thierry Henry, you know, Dwayne De Rosario is another big name for Canada. These guys were the guys I got to play with. And then we got to, you know, play against Chelsea, which again, I had played against Chelsea lots of times from when I was over in England. So that surprised me really, but I just really loved the fact that we went out there with a bunch of like guys that were my heroes and beat them. Yeah. Because we were one of the first MLS teams to actually beat when the Premier League started to come over. You know, we were one of the first to actually win. So that was kind of cool too.
I saw that video, your tongue in that U.S. Algeria game, I believe. That was nasty. You're leaking everywhere, and I guess you didn't have time to stitch it up, right? It's not like you can just stop. They can't really stitch a tongue, can they?
No, not in that amount of time. So that was it. And the hard part was I was in the 3rd minute. And anyone that knows soccer knows that it's 90 plus. So, you know, running around for an hour and a half at a World Cup. So again, you're playing it in front of 50,000 people. You know, the whole world's watching, and I got. And it like across the side of my tongue, you know, all of a sudden I feel it. I get an elbow as I go up for a header, right? 3rd minute. And my tongue kind of just explodes in my mouth. I can feel it. I'm just spitting blood. So I'm like, go over there. And he looks at me and he's just like, you're going to have stitches. He's like, you can either come off or you can play. And I'm like, okay, let's play. So every like 10 or 15 minutes, I have to go to the sideline and he'd like apply the Vaseline on this gash in my mouth. If you look at any like Google photos from the Demerit Algeria, it's like I got this blood like Kool-Aid mustache around my lip.
Hey, we'll try to find that and drop that in there.
Yeah, no, there's good ones. There's one where I like go like this and you can see like it's just all blood in there. So yeah, but I mean, come on, man. What are you gonna? I'm playing a World Cup. I'm not gonna go sit down. You know, blood. Yeah. So that was hard though, you know, trying to concentrate. That was the hardest part. It wasn't the pain. The pain, you know, as you get to that level, you're used to playing with pain. But I think for me, it was just this like I got to concentrate on what I needed to do while still trying to concentrate on trying to breathe and not swallow my own blood. It's hard being around in South African heat.
Yeah, I hear you. What was it like going to the White House and meeting Obama and Biden and Clinton?
Well, any team from the U.S. that goes to a World Cup stops at the White House on the way there, just as a good luck and a thank you, I guess, from the government.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. We got to take a tour of the Oval Office, sit in the war rooms with Obama and Joe Biden, who was we went in his office. So we got to hang in his office, and they have these pretty cool little coins. Every diplomat has a coin, and every coin says what their title is.
Okay.
And those are like those are like cards. They're like playing cards for diplomats. So it's like whenever summits and things like that, like who buys the drink is the one who's got the Trump coin. Not an actual Trump coin, but the one that beats the next one, depending on your rank in diplomacy.
Right.
So we all got a Joe Biden coin. So we're vice president level right now.
Yeah. That's sweet.
Well, I got that on my desk. You know, those are the kind of experiences you're so fortunate to have.
What was it like playing with Landon Donovan? I remember watching him a ton as a kid.
Oh, you know, Landon was a true talent. You know, he's a guy that really, you know, as a 16-year-old was already playing for the national team, 16, 17, 18. You know, those guys, you know, to come through that life and live that way. And again, I came from the complete opposite story. So there's certain things I understand on Landon, but certain things I'll never understand. You know what I mean? So that relationship with him and I was always pretty cool. You know, I always respected him for that. And, you know, when you play around talent, it's always you always feel like your job gets easier. You know what I mean? Because you don't got to rely on other people. And that's the cool thing about playing for, like, when you get to the international stage and even like for Premier League teams and stuff like that, like, it almost becomes easier because all the players are so good that, you know, I just think that it's important for us to, you know, live on both sides of that.
So did you meet the Olympic gold medalist wife, Ashley McIver, out here or while you were playing, or?
Yeah, here. It was here. It was actually my first couple months in Vancouver. And now, yeah, we got a 4-year-old. Life is interesting. We've been in and out of our relationship, in all honesty. Some people know this, some people don't. We're trying to figure out what we're doing, but at the end of the day, we love each other and we're being good co-parents and trying to make it work. So yeah, all good. I was with them this morning, and we all still are a happy family. That's for sure.
Awesome. Who was your favorite center back to play with?
A couple. One in Vancouver, Andy O'Brien. I don't know if you remember him. He was the English Irish actually that came here. Andy was my favorite center back for Vancouver. I would have loved to play with Kendall Waston. That would have been awesome. I played with a guy on the U.S. team called Oguchi Aniewu, who was just like Kendall. Big, strong, win everything in the air, physical, you know, played with a lot of passion. I like playing with those guys because I was kind of smaller and kind of more nimble. So like those guys would wrestle with the big guys and win all the stuff in the air, and I just pick up all the pieces. So that was kind of the guys I like to play with on the team.
Do you still watch a lot of Whitecaps?
I mean, a bit. Again, I don't.
You see, they got eliminated last night, right, or 2 nights ago?
Yeah, and again, I mean, my relationship with the Whitecaps isn't great. It's not bad, but you know, there's a reason I'm up here running my own program. I guess I'll just leave it there.
Okay, fair enough. What do you think the U.S. national team's missing these days? Like after you were there, and like it kind of went downhill after you left, I feel.
That's a good question. It's a very good question. My honest answer, they're missing character.
Heart.
Yeah, when I say character, because there's characters kind of, when you have a team full of character, you kind of have one of everything. And again, the teams that were most successful in my career, be it a Watford team, a Whitecaps team, or a U.S. national team, you know, we had a Whitecaps team, for example. We had me back there shouting, leader, captain, you know, not trying to be super fancy, making sure my team's organized, making sure other people are there. That's what I brought to the table. You got Eric Cassidy up front, big, strong, larger-than-life personality, great finisher of the goal. He's not going to be fitness guy. He's not going to say a word to organize his team. You got Davide Cimiento in the middle, so he's the little jester in there. He's short, he's fast. You know, he plays with little touches. You got the wingers down that are fast, and those guys are only fast. And you got young bucks like Russell Tybert who will do anything for the team and run through a brick wall, even though they're 18 and they don't really know what they're doing yet. But he contributes in certain ways. And then you got, you know, Joe Cannon, nice, experienced guy at the back, willing to, you know, do anything, but a great leader in the locker room, guy that's going to, you know, put his arm around people's shoulders and mentor some of the young guys. And then you got John Thorrington, who is kind of like the older head, but he's more the analytical thinker. He's talking tactics. He's talking about leadership in a different way. So all of a sudden you mix all those guys and you got yourself a team. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't, one of those guys is going to rely on the other one because they're not just like each other. But what happens when everyone's just like each other is adversity. And what happens in adversity is that our character needs to be shown. But if there's only one character out there, more times than not, something's going to fail. Something's going to miss. And that's what's happening with U.S. soccer. They don't have enough of everything to make sure that on games, somebody's going to pull them out. The gritty guy's going to pull them out and win in Trinidad when they have to. The Pulisic's going to score 3 goals 3 times through World Qualifying because he's the talent and he's going to do that. That's his job. That's his character. You know, but where are all those guys? And in my opinion, they're all come off the U.S. soccer line right now, and they're all just like each other because they've all been part of the system. They don't pick any grassroots players that have fought their way there like Clint Dempsey's or myself. Those guys aren't there anymore. They're just coming off the line, part of academy programs that all were built from a badge and a pay-to-play system. And then we're wondering, like, where's the grit? Where's the character? Where's the guy that's going to actually stand up and you know, that's not a good player, but was willing to fight with some balls. And, like, where are those guys? You know what I mean? But they're just really talented, really one-dimensional players that are all pretty nice, and they know what to say in front of camera, but where are they? Who are they? No one knows, because they're all the same people, and they're just falling off that conveyor belt of U.S. soccer and going, hey, maybe we'll try this guy. Hey, maybe you wonder why we can't win.
Yeah, you got it right, obviously. What's the personal highlight and low light?
Highlight for sure. Well, two, of course. One is top, standing at the halfway line, hand on my heart, USA England World Cup 2010. When you get that top 11 and you're representing your country in the biggest sporting event on the planet, and your national anthem comes on, like, you can't beat that. That's the best. So that was that. Probably number one. Number two was that playoff final game, because when I scored that goal and got kind of thrust into this new environment, that kind of created the next life of, again, going and playing a World Cup. So that moment, that game, for me, really personified a lot of things, because, my parents were in the stands that day. It was kind of like this kind of culmination of the journey to get to that moment, and then to have such a good moment and to play well and to kind of get that next springboard up was kind of those key games that you really need in your life. And I say in life because, games are metaphorical. What's your game? You know what I mean? Games are, it's not just, soccer was my game, but everyone has a game that they're preparing for. Everybody. It's a job interview. Is it a team they want to make? Is it a school they want to get into? It doesn't matter. It's what are you preparing for? What game are you preparing for? And that for me was prepared for so long and so many miles and so many struggles and things to get to that moment. Then to have it hit and to do it all in that way was for me, again, a huge stepping stone to kind of creating the next part of my career.
What will we find in your iPod?
A lot of electronic music. One of the things, we run a fundraiser to raise kids to come to my youth program. We run an electronic music festival every year called Rise and Shine. So I listen to a lot of local DJs, Funk Hunters, Average Gypsy, like a lot of Shambhala kind of music, Bass Coast. I'm friends with the girls that run Bass Coast, so a lot of those kind of DJs locally. A little bit of rock, sometimes country, Wisconsin country stuff when I go back home, stuff like that, but electronic. Funky house mainly if I had to choose.
Okay.
I've heard you've had tons of brunches with Sir Elton John and crushed beers with Bill Clinton. What's that like?
I would say, celebrities are cool, especially when they treat you like you're one of them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I got some pretty cool stories, with some pretty cool celebrities. But Elton John is definitely by far the most, because I captained his team. I played 200 games for his team, and when I captained his team, Elton very famously is Watford's #1 fan. He's considered their life president, but has saved the club from bankruptcy twice. He grew up as a little boy going in the terraces of Watford, so he supported the club ever since he could walk. So all of a sudden, you're an American and you captain that team. He loves America. America really gave him his career. Yep. So to have an American captain that he really loves and respects, it's like he loves me, man. Like he's given 2 shout outs at concerts to me in the crowd. You know what I mean? Like, crazy, man. Like that, but for me, I'd go into his dressing room before the games and I'd give him a rocket log and I'd play soccer with his kids and take his kids to the park when they're in kits and stuff. And that's what he loves about me. Cause I'm like, hey, Elton, I don't care if you're Elton John or not. You got cool kids. You're a cool guy. Yeah. This I can give to you. And so that relationship for me and him have always been really cool. And, he'll call me and, he'll be like, I just want to say thanks a lot for my kids just talked about you. And it just reminded me that you didn't have to do that. Thanks again for taking the time to go play soccer with my kids. And, I really appreciate that. Like, he doesn't have to say that, you know what I mean? Like, but, the fact that he does says the kind of guy that he is. And I really appreciated that about our relationship. And because it really is just built on respect. It's not built on celebrity.
Do you have a favorite piece of memorabilia?
A couple. When you play in a World Cup, you get this pretty cool gold coin. It's like about, just about the size of a silver dollar, but it's like 24 karat gold. So it looks awesome. It comes in this little collapsible frame. So it's like this little frame of a piece of gold that you get, and it's got the World Cup trophy on it. And, so that's probably the number one. The other one is maybe some jerseys. I've had Fernando Torres, who played for Liverpool in Spain. My favorite jersey that I have is Pirlo. So he's Italian magician. So when we played against Italy in the Confederations Cup, I got his jersey.
Okay.
I would say those kind of are some pretty cool treasures too.
How did the Rise and Shine documentary come about?
Well, a couple months before the World Cup in 2010, I get approached by a guy I played college soccer with and his friend, both soccer fans, and they were like, dude, we got to if you make the World Cup, we got to turn this into a documentary. Like, this is crazy. Like, if you're going to make the World Cup team, like, we got to send a camera. We got to get action. Like, this is like, because again, no American had ever done that before. So they're like, let's turn it into a documentary. And then we're going to go to this thing called Kickstarter to try to raise the money. Remember, this is 2011. This is 9 years ago. So no one was really donating money online. There was no GoFundMe pages or anything like that yet. So I was just like, listen, if you guys want to run the project, I can help get interviews and find the right players to do that and get the right footage. And they're like, yeah, well, that's all we want from you. So again, they hired a guy in Craigslist, sent him to the World Cup, got some cool footage, good family interviews, player interviews, stuff like that. And then my buddy, who's unfortunately passed away now, he's the one that developed the Kickstarter campaign. So he was an online marketer, and he's like, I'll develop this campaign. So we did masterminded this whole thing, and his campaign raised, again, with the passionate soccer community, and this is what I love about the passionate soccer community, is that they're passionate, is that, you give them something to get behind, and they will. And so that's what happened. We had trailers, we had a raw copy, and it was just this amazing experience for me, because what I realized is that the story was way bigger than me. And in the end, they raised $223,000 online in 70 days to turn my story into a documentary film called Rise and Shine. So, for me, that was my empowerment moment. I knew from then on that I needed to be the Rise and Shine vehicle. I needed to be the one to go out and share the story and tell kids and create a youth program and a charity to say, hey, I'm no different. I'm not. I just took it upon myself to create my own story, and you can too. And that's what Rise and Shine is. It's truly what it is. It's a communal program. It starts with our youth, but at the end of the day, it's about believing in yourself and respect and work ethic and positivity. And those are the 4 pillars we work on at Rise and Shine. And it truly is that film is our vehicle to show that. It's a vehicle to say, hey, if this person can do that, I can too. And that for me is what Rise and Shine is. And so now we use the film. I go speak around it. I speak to businesses, and I speak to schools. I speak to universities. And it's all around the story of that. It's Rise and Shine is the ability to take your story upon yourself and go and achieve to what you think you're capable of. And yeah, you need support. Yeah, you need people around you. Yeah, you need to take risks. But at the end of the day, it's got to drive from you. And ultimately, that's what the youth program. It's called Captain's Camps. Captain's Camps isn't about the C on the chest or the armband. Yeah, those are the bonuses you get when you're a captain. But being a captain is about captaining your own ship. It's about being yourself and understanding that you drive your ship. And when kids can start to bring that stuff down, when even adults can start to take down those things about doing things for other people, it's amazing what we can accomplish. That's for sure. And how happy we can become. So, that's truly what we do now at Rise and Shine. And that's how we, again, that's how we're going to hopefully now educate the future too. Because as you can see, we're a pretty weird place right now in the world, and we need people to come back together and really build community back in a different way that we've never had, because we're losing community in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit it on the head. I mean, if it wasn't for these Zoom calls, I think everyone would be going crazy. I think it's helping everyone kind of talk to their family and get a hold of people they haven't talked to a lot, because they obviously can't be together. So.
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, this is all part of it. And so for me to come on, these types of things and support that message and do these types of things, this is what it's all about. And, this is what you guys are doing too. You guys are promoting these messages. You're saying, hey, look at these people that are often doing these things and finding their own successes in whatever way that we are. And, that's what we need more of. We need more storytelling. We need more people to create platforms of education. And again, that's what you guys are doing. That's what I'm doing now with the youth programs too. And now it's just about, how do we work together to create those messages in a positive way, instead of how many likes did you get, and how much does that have? You know what I mean? Like we're creating this false sense of identity and why we give each other respect and community and support each other. You know what I mean? It's all based on our ego-built things or corporate pay-to-play systems. You know what I mean? And that's not really what community is. So we're the freedom fighters for the other side.
Yeah, that's for sure. We're hearing stories from all the NHL players we've interviewed and stuff, and they're saying that they like the way that they have now a way to tell their story, and people are hearing it. And I'm showing your story, kind of thing, or We are.
Yeah, well, and again, that's what you guys can control. You guys can provide that. You know what I mean? Any platform that we can provide that provides inspiration or education, you know, why aren't we doing that? You know, we should be. And again, technology allows us to do that, and that's exponential. That's scalable stuff. You know what I mean? You get the right message or the right clip, and all of a sudden, you know, you guys out there, and you're like, whoa. And all of a sudden, you got 50,000 views on that thing. That's a message, and that's positive. So, you know, that's what we try to do more of.
Let's talk about the Green Bay situation. The quarterback, you think Aaron Rodgers is done now? They're going to make a move on him, and now they got Love coming in?
No. I think Aaron Rodgers is getting a taste of his own medicine. I think Aaron Rodgers is getting a taste of his own medicine. Remember when Aaron Rodgers got drafted?
Yeah.
And Brett Favre didn't want to retire. Brett Favre wanted to be the leader, and Brett Favre probably had 3 good years left in him.
Yeah.
So I think this is the same. I think it's the same mindset. I think they bring in Love. I think they like him a lot, but he's got to learn under Aaron. And Aaron, no way is done yet. He can sit in that pocket and flick that little finger.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm a Seahawks fan, but every year in my fantasy football, I make sure I go out and get Aaron Rodgers. So.
Hey, I would never bet against that guy. That's for sure.
No.
I know him on a micro level. I got to do some stuff with the Packers over the years, so I know he's a good guy. He's actually a soccer fan, so I got nothing but respect for him. I hope he stays for as long as he can.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you guys need him there. He's a stud, man. That guy knows how to win.
Oh, and he knows how to not throw interceptions.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you play fantasy sports?
I'm not into fantasy. I like to be in the room with all my friends rapping about it. That's for sure. But I've always found that when I've had that, I lose all my other, because you guys saw all I do every day, and I'm like, you got to really pay attention to it all. So the fantasy leagues I've been into, by week 3, I'm out anyway. So I'm like, let's play. I can't get there enough. But either way, it's I'm still a big sports fan, and of course, can't wait for the NFL to come back. I hope they can get it back this year.
Me too. I'm praying for it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jay, thank you so much, man, for coming on today. We really appreciate it, and you took your time for us, and we've been big fans of yours ever since you played for the Whitecaps. Obviously, we followed you when you played here.
Hi, I'm Jay Demerit, and I was on the I Only Touch Greatness podcast.
Hey, thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it, man.